Hello. This video series has been a long time in the making. I want to make videos, probably 3 of them, on the most niche or random TCGs and CCGs I collect. The first one is Young Jedi. This is by Decipher, the same ones who make the Star Wars CCG that I've made other videos about. And when it was made in 1999, towards the end of the Star Wars CCG's life, this only ran for 2 years until 2001, it was seen as a very, very dumbed-down version of the Star Wars CCG, which it essentially is. Star Wars CCGs compared to Magic the Gathering in terms of its complexity and quality of play. This is way, 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 way lower. Good game for kids. We'll hopefully teach it to my kids in a couple of years when they're ready. That being said, I think a lot of people oversimplify the game because they only played with the first set and the starter decks at that. The starter decks are extremely simple. There are a lot of cards, especially later ones, that add more complexity. It seems super, super fun, although I can't say I've played a lot. What attracted me to this game is not only that I completed the Star Wars CCG collection that I had, but also I just love how these cards look, especially the foils. So what I have in this binder is my collection. It's not every single Young Jedi card, but it's one of every single foil, as well as the non-foil promos, premiums, reflections cards, and rares and ultra rares from the harder to find sets. So essentially one of every valuable English Young Jedi card. I'm going to go through slowly at first to talk a bit about the game, and then and then faster as we go on. So this first page, these are the light side foils. You can see they're in white sleeves from the first set, Menace of Darth Maul. These at the top are what they're called the rare foils. These three are the uncommon foils, and these are the common foils. So these essentially translate to ultra rare, what in the Star Wars CCG was called super rare, and what's called very rare. The chance of getting any foil in a pack, it's like the Endor set of the Star Wars CCG, it's 1 in 9. So 1 in every 9 packs is a foil replacing the rare, not in addition to. So they're very, very hard to come by, and each of these has, I think you have 1 in 400 and something chance of pulling a given ultra rare foil out of the 4 in the first set. So very, very hard to pull. Packs are obviously super cheap. A lot of people get random Young Jedi, like chaff cards, like bulk, when they're buying lots of Star Wars CCGs. Sometimes they're mixed together, and they essentially throw them out, which is what I used to do, but the foils are very hard to get, and so that's what I collect. Not so much from the first set, but from later sets, which I'll talk about values later on. Another note about this game is it's only episode 1. Here are the dark set cards. So if you don't like episode 1, you may not like this. I happen to like episode 1 a decent amount, and also it's the same characters from the Star Wars universe, including Darth Maul. Here is from the second set, the Jedi Council. Also relatively easy to come by. These at the top are the ultra rare foils. I want to show this card because it's one of my favorite cards of all time in any TCG. Just love the color and how it looks. I have a bunch of these in a different binder. Trying to get the light right for this. And you can see every Young Jedi card is essentially full art, or 3/4 art, and the foil pattern just looks so good in some of them. The other side of this, the 9 dark side foils, you see this is another one of my favorite cards of all time from any game. This is Darth Maul. I'll turn it this way so you can see the foil pattern. As with the Star Wars CCG collection, most of my other collections, these cards are double sleeves. So you've got a KMC Super Fit in here, inside of a KMC non-matte sleeve. I've got white for the light side, black for the dark side. The third set, starting to get harder to find, Battle of Naboo. The booster box list probably now goes for around $90, so essentially $3 a pack. These are the ultra rares. Each of these is probably worth about $40, maybe $45 or $50 now for these ultra rares. Then, this is a second print run of the first set, Menace of Darth Maul. This print run was called Beta, as in the second. And you can see it's kind of hard to see sometimes, but there's that little beta symbol right next to the copyright, the ink, that says from the second print run. They changed the foil pattern for this. The foil pattern for the non-beta print run was actually, I think, cooler in my opinion, but the print quality was worse. A lot of the cards in the non-beta print run are chipped along the edges because of how they cut them. These are easier to find better conditioned cards of, and these are a lot harder to find. You can find beta booster boxes or some collector's boxes that have beta packs, but these cards are worth a lot more. So I'd say in the first set, these ultra rare foils are probably worth about $20. Jar Jar probably a bit less. The beta version, easily twice or 3 times as much. So I've got all of those, and then all the dark side ones as well. So these are probably worth about $45 to $50 each, although it's hard to know because not a lot of people collect this. That's going to be a theme here. Not a lot of people collect these games. Maybe more so will as a result of these videos. These are non-foils, rares from the 4th set, Duel of the Fates. It's harder to find set, so I put all the rares here. It's a smaller set, only at 60 cards, 20 rares, 10 of each side. And this is an ultra rare, so it's the first kind of ultra rare they made that was non-foil. The pull rates on this, it's actually hard to know exactly how much they are, how rare they are, but I think it's about 1 in every 2 boxes you get an ultra rare. But reports vary, and I haven't opened a box myself, so I wouldn't know. I like some of these rares, the droids over there. This is the final set. I skipped Reflections because we'll get to that. These are also non-foil. This is an ultra rare, probably worth, these ones worth about $50, this one and the Darth Maul. This probably worth about $80 to $100. The Anakin and Sebulba. And in these sets, they added more mechanics. So in the previous set, Duel of the Fates, they added mechanics around dueling. This one, they added mechanics around pod racing. You can see there's an objective card around pod racing here. I love this spaceship. So the game gets more complicated as it goes along, and I don't know all those rules yet, but hopefully I will one day. All right, this is the big one, Reflections. Reflections had 100 cards, 60 of which were foil. This was the second to last set. Very, very hard to come by. A pack of Reflections probably goes for around $40 to $50 now. And I just love the foil pattern on these. Almost every card is a full art foiling. So there were 10 ultra rares in Reflections. Kind of hard to know which they are unless you happen to have them memorized like I do or have seen a checklist. I'll point out the ultra rares as they go. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, in my opinion. This Qui-Gon is an ultra rare, and this Aura Singh, so 2 from the first set. So Reflections did foils of cards from the previous sets, the first 6 sets, including quote-unquote preview cards of Boon to Eve Pod Race, because that hadn't come out yet. So you'll see foils from every set. They took cards that previously had never been foiled. Like, again, every set had a foil subset, right? So Menace of Darth Maul had these foil cards. You can get one every 9 packs. Reflections, every pack is a foil, and it's a foil version of a card that previously was never made in foil. So it's ultra rare for Menace of Darth Maul. This one's an ultra rare. That one randomly is an ultra rare. I've got an ultra rare over here and ultra rare over here. You start to see the same characters appearing again. This card, the non-foil version, is an ultra rare from Duel of the Fates. The foil version is not. Just as easy to find as any other foil, which is one in every 60 packs of Reflections. Same thing with this one. The ultra rare foils here are this one from Duel of Fates, and on the last page, I point out, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then these are quote-unquote preview cards because Boon to Eve Pod Race hadn't come out yet, but they made cards of them. This, another one of my all-time favorite trading cards ever. You've probably seen my other Star Wars duplicates binder that I've got a bunch of these. This foil version of Aura Singh. She only appears in the movie for like a few seconds, but there are a lot of different cards of her. Probably because she's such a cool bounty hunter. And I love these spaceship cards too. See the silver is foil. Something I think I've said already, but this game is extremely underrated. I think both as a game and in terms of collectability. This one, another one of my favorites. This foil spaceship. Most of the cards from Reflections go for about $20 to $30, depending on which ones they are. The ultra rare foils are a lot more, depending on them. So most of the ultra rare foils are worth about $50, and then the two that people like the most, which is this one and this one, foil versions from the enhanced sets, which we'll go over. I'll show them individually. Probably go for $150 each at this point, although again, not sure because these don't sell too often. That's the Queen Amidala, and this is the Darth Maul, probably the most valuable English Young Jedi card. And I think that is it. Oh no, there's one more page of foils from Reflections. This one, another one of my favorite cards of all time. I've got duplicates of him in another binder. Obi-Wan Kenobi looking mad. And these. Then we've got the non-foil Reflections cards. So every pack had 2 non-foils. Some of them could be these, which are characters with weapons. I haven't played with these again. They introduced new rules, but they seem very, very good in my opinion. I think these cards have become worth a lot recently. They fluctuated from like anywhere from $10 to $40 each because I think they're highly playable if you're playing the version of the game that includes all the sets. And then some of these combo cards that are slightly more common in those Reflection packs. Then I've got the promos and premiums and so forth. Just like the enhanced sets in Star Wars CCG, they made enhanced Menace of Darth Maul. You got one of these 6 promos, relatively easy to come by. This one is a promo product, not exactly sure how it was released, but pretty hard to find. This card's pretty valuable, maybe $40-ish. These 2 are also promos, foils of previously non-foiled cards in the first set, relatively easy to come by. These 2 are probably the hardest promos or tournament foils of any kind to find. Some people call them tournament foils, but they're not really. And my impression is they were not given out at tournaments. This was given out at Decipher Con, I think, which is a convention. You can get this instead of the Imperial Class Star Destroyer or the Corellian Corvette foil from the Star Wars CCG. So most people pick those. Therefore, there's not that many of these. I think these are probably worth anywhere from $50 to $75 now. Open Fire also very hard to find. So those aren't quite tournament foils, more like promo foils. And then here are all the cards from the enhanced Battle of Naboo. So they reprinted Battle of Naboo in these enhanced packs with each pack had 3 premium cards. Here are the tournament foils. There's 23 total. Don't ask me why. It's 11 dark side and 11 light side and 12 dark side. So it doesn't line up permanently. These are all foils of cards that were previously non-foiled, commons, or uncommons. So the reflection set had foiled versions of cards that were previously rare. These are foils of cards that were previously common or uncommon. Hard to know how much these are worth. I've seen them fluctuate in value, but somewhere between around $20 and $25 each for these tournament foils. And these you can see the locations. Similar to Star Wars CCG, you play with locations in Young Jedi, but only one location at a time from each world. There's 3 worlds: Tatooine, Coruscant, and Naboo. You play through each world, and then the game is over. Okay, and then just for fun, my favorite page, I've got another copy of each ultra rare foil. So these are the 4 ultra rare foils from Menace of Darth Maul, 4 from Jedi Council, 4 from Battle of Naboo, 4 from Beta of Menace of Darth Maul, non-foil ultra rares from the later sets, Duel of Fates and Boonty of Pardrace. And then these are not from the sets, but I still consider them on par with ultra rares, even though these are easy to come by. These are not, so I've got a second copy of these. That's it for the main part of the collection. I figure I might as well keep going, so I think later I'll try to get another of each ultra rare foil from from Reflections. So there's 8 total plus 2. They're not technically ultra rare foils; they're foil versions of ultra rares. So maybe I'll get another copy of all of those. There's more to collect because they're German cards, although the German version of the game was only the first set and never had foils. And then there's also the Japanese version. There are foils of Menace of Darth Maul in Japanese. They're extremely rare, extremely expensive. I'm actually saving up to buy a set from someone who has one. We'll see if that ever ends up happening. Because again, it's just more copies of this, which if you count the beta version, I guess I have 4 copies of each ultra rare in this binder already. So nothing particularly special, but it'd be cool to have another language. And apparently there was a Japanese version of the second set, Jedi Council, that was made also with foils, but very, very, very hard to come by. Nobody I know has too many of those. So I focused on English for this collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. I'll just flip through it again, maybe highlight on some of my favorite pages. But part of the reasons I like this game, part of the reasons I think it's so underrated, are people oversimplify the gameplay because they played an earlier version of it, and the cards are just so cool. A lot of people don't like Episode 1, so they sleep on these full art shiny cards. If you're interested in learning more about this game, I'm always happy to talk about it. I love Young Jedi. I've got plenty of spare cards too that I've been trading over time. There's an active Facebook group. Here are the Reflections cards again. So don't hesitate to leave a comment or reach out if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed the video. I also want to highlight for each video in this series what sealed product I have. So for each of these niche CCGs, I try to get the rarest English sealed product. So in the case of Young Jedi, this is Reflections. This box sealed is probably worth between $700 to $800, even though individual packs are worth more if you break it out. So this box is interesting actually because it only has 18 packs, but even so, the packs usually sell for 50 to 60. So if you could find a box for that amount, seems like a good deal. I want to keep this sealed. As you can see, it's in a custom acrylic case, comes off like this. I worked with a seller on Etsy, actually a few iterations to get this to be the right size. So it's not perfect, it's not super tight fit, but it does the trick. You can see also the box here still has a sticker from the original retailer. Tried to get off a little bit, but got nervous about ripping the seal. If anyone knows how to do that, actually it'd be helpful to know. But I love how this box looks with Darth Maul in the front. Very different from all the other Young Jedi boxes. If you've seen them, they're just like all red or all blue. And the seal, so the sides have different characters. The seal on the side is my favorite one. So hope you enjoyed.